Uh-oh, another exception. St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Front page article, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Papa was a dog, Mama a cat. The London pet shop owner who said he bred them now has 2 offspring, which he calls dats. Roy Tutt said he crossed a male Scotch Terrier with a female cat, and the offspring had dog's face and cat's fur and legs. Said a spokesman from the Regency Park Zoo, I would have never thought it possible. My question is, how do you explain that? Or in German, was ist das? Or who dat? Okay. Now, the answer, I popped on the screen mistakenly just real quick, but the answer is not what theory you would propose, but the next day, buried in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, a little bitty article. This picture was front page, showing the bias of the media. Now, little bitty article, buried about page 6 or 7. It says this: 2 furry animals that Roy Tutt offered as evidence of successfully mating a dog and a cat were nothing more than mongrel puppies, which cost me 5 shillings each. By spending the equivalent of $1.20, Tutt perplexed British animal experts for a few pounds, earned personal appearance interviews and photographs, but according to his handwritten confession, the whole business is a hoax. Why can't you breed a dog and a cat? Apparently the code information in the DNA molecules does not allow reproduction to take place. It is true there is variation in dogs. There are bulldogs, there are Scotties, there are collies, there are greyhounds, there are beggar dogs, there are Pekingese, there's dachshunds, and so forth. I do not deny the fact that within the dog kind there is variation. Same thing with cats. And I don't know much about cats, but there are Russian cats and Persian cats and so forth. Same thing with humans. There's great variation within this room. Now, I do not have a problem with variation. Some people term that microevolution, variation within a kind, small biological changes. By selectively breeding the tall dogs with the tall dogs, the white dogs with the white dogs, the spotted dogs with the spotted dogs, the long-haired dogs with the long-haired dogs, they have come up with a variety of dogs. Put them all together, though, and you get a mixture again. Okay, now, the theory of evolution, though, goes beyond that. The theory of evolution is not variation with a kind, but that one kind changed into another. That somehow, for example, a fish with fins evolved into an amphibian with legs. If a fish evolved with fins, evolved into an amphibian with legs, if it was scientific, we ought to observe some intermediate. We ought to be able to breed a fish with something to get the intermediate, half fin, half leg, and so forth. This has never been observed, never repeated, never verified. The questions will be taken after the session's over. Okay. Now, the second thing is that second law that the theory of evolution contradicts is the second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics says that things or systems left to themselves will go to a condition of greater disorder. What we actually observe is if you throw a puzzle, the pieces of the puzzle up, there's a scattering. If you drop pickup sticks and they're in order, they go to disorder. Okay? You'd observe that all along. That's easily verified and repeated. But the theory of evolution says that somehow disordered particles evolve to arrange themselves in ordered life. That has never been observed, never repeated. It's like throwing the pieces of a puzzle up and having them come together to form the completed picture. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not scientific. That's not observable, repeatable, verifiable, or subject to experimentation. Let me ask a question. Has a volcano that erupted ever laid out city streets, sewer systems, electrical lines, and so forth? It has. Well, boy, I'd be surprised. Okay. I'd like to know the verification of it. Okay. Has an earthquake ever produced a building across the street? Has a bomb, an explosion, ever produced order, such as the atomic bombs in Hiroshima or Nagasaki, or more recently, the bomb in Oklahoma City, the federal building there? Did that produce order? No. Observation, scientific observations show that no eruption, no earthquake, no volcanic eruption nor explosion has ever produced order. The idea that 13.5 billion years ago a kernel of energy exploded with a big bang to produce an ordered universe is a fairy tale. It's not scientific. It's never been observed, never been repeated, never been verified, and you can't perform an experiment. Thus, it's not scientific. Now, let's go into mathematical probabilities. How are we doing on time? I'm trying to see the timer. 7 minutes, okay. Why is the study of mathematical probabilities so important? It's one of the strongest evidences against evolution is the mathematical improbability that highly complex systems, such as living systems, could have arisen by chance. Now, mathematical probabilities are quite interesting. Actually, they're quite reliable. If I had all of you, I guess there's probably 100 here, if I had you stand and flip a coin, what's the chance, if it's a random chance flipping, what's the chance of flipping a heads? 1 out of what? 2. Approximately 50 of you would have heads and 50 tails. What's the chance of flipping 2 heads in a row? Well, it's 1 and 2 times 2, 1 and 4. What's the chance of flipping 10 heads in a row? I mean, not a case where you flip it up and you look at it and determine which way you turn it, but I mean by random chance. It's 1 in 2 times 2, or 2 to the 10th power, 1 in 1,024. Combination lock. If you were in high school, you probably had a combination lock. What's the chance of somebody trying to break into your lock of coming up with the first number correct if you have a master lock? Well, you probably can't see it, but master lock has 40 numbers. Your chance is 1 out of 40. What's the chance of getting all 3 correct? Well, the chance is 1 in 64,000. 1 in 40 times 40 times 40. If a person was able to twirl the lock once a minute, different try once a minute, and did it 24 hours a day, it would take 44 days by probabilities to hit the right lock combination. By that time, hopefully the security would get them. Okay. Now the probability decreases as the number of components increase. I have here some flashcards. If I had held up 3 flashcards, what's the probability if there was a predetermined number of these 3? What's the probability of you getting the number correct? Well, the chance of getting the first one correct is 1 out of what? 3. After that, the chance of getting the next number, 1 out of 2. The chance of getting the last number would be 1 out of 1, so the chance of getting the number correct is 1 out of 6. What's the chance of 10 flashcards in order? Well, it's 1 in what's called 10 factorial. 1 in 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. It's 1 in over 3 million. What's the chance of getting 100 flashcards in order? Well, it's 1 in 100 times 99 times 98 out of 0. It's 1 in 100 factorial, or the chance of 1 in a 10 to the 158th power, or 1 in a 1 followed by 158 zeros. Now, this could never happen, even that simple a thing, in the entire space-time universe. Any event with probabilities of less than 1 chance in 110 just won't occur.